Everyone has a scar on their body from something dumb they did as a child. What's your story? Been jumping on a mattress. Hit the radiator. Cracked my skull open. Are you an actual monkey? I think there's a song about this event. Broke a vase. Tried to glue it back together with toothpaste. I left it by a bedroom door and forgot about it. Ran into the bedroom later and promptly stepped on it. You should have applied some toothpaste to the cut. No, duct tape's better. Fight me edit. Thanks for the gift, kind Redditor. Also, thanks everyone for the cake days wishes. I was 5 and was sitting on the toilet. I found a razor blade, not the kind for shaving, and started playing with it. I was cutting lines into the wall when the razor slipped away from the wall. My hand had some momentum and the blade cut into my thigh. At the time, I was scared about telling mom, so I went to bed and held my finger on it. Oh, and when I was 3 or 4, I was riding underneath a grocery basket while mom was pushing. I was watching the wheel spinning fast. I went to put my finger on the wheel and it was pulled in between the wheel and metal casing. Oh man, the one with the shopping cart wheel made me cringe. Me too. It's like imagining putting your finger between the door and the door frame and closing it. Rescued a praying mantis in a steep wooded area, fell really hard on a sharp rock and opened up my knee. The mantis was fine though. Thank God the mantis was okay. Wait, what's wrong with you again? My dad bought me a Swiss Army knife. As I was checking out one of its many blades, a bee landed on my lap and I instinctively freaked out and stabbed myself. But did you get the bee? He stabbed the bee through his flesh and into his bloodstream, fusing its DNA with his, becoming bee-boy. I was playing freeze dance in kindergarten, spinning around, and when the teacher said freeze, I smashed my face into a table, causing me to break my nose. Edit. Thank you all for the upvotes. You have no idea how happy it makes me knowing my pain caused a funny. When the teacher said freeze, I smashed my face into a table. That is, like, the opposite of what you're supposed to do. Report card history, a math, a science, a freeze dance, F civics. The second I was born I clawed my own face and I got a small scar. WTF. Babies are often born with long nails and their immature reflexes can cause them to claw themselves. This is quite common actually, which is why you'll hear parents talk about the experience of having to trim itty bitty newborn nails. I learned after the first one to just bring really small nail files in my hospital bag. Worked like a charm. Also why you often see newborns with hand covers. Kitten mittens for babies. I burned myself on a Morrison's ready meal. I dropped a hot, toasted marshmallow on my leg and now have a scar the size of a nickel, so I can relate to permanent food burn injuries. I tried to blow out a marshmallow that caught on fire when I was around 6, but my mom didn't want me to blow it out for fear of burning myself. She snatched it out of my hands and it stuck to my face, so now I have a scar on my cheek from a marshmallow. Task failed successfully. I was so pumped to eat my toaster strudel that I just shoved my hand into the toaster oven while it was still on like a bear pawing at a beehive. The top of my wrist hit the heat bar, not sure what the word for this is, dead on while it was still red hot 18 years later. It's a pretty subtle scar, but god that hurt like a bitch at the time. The dumbest part of this incident, despite the fact that my wrist had just audibly and excruciatingly sizzled, I somehow thought that the crisp skin that remained was a flake of toaster strudel that had fallen off and proceeded to eat it. Me rinds did not taste good. Cannibal risk is minimal with this one. I appreciate the benefit of the doubt, but my takeaway may have been different if I'd somehow managed to spill lime juice on it, effectively making me cherones. It's not very visible anymore. When I was in kindergarten, I found out what a world record was, so I tried to be the first every kindergartner to do a front flip into a bathtub. Now, I've never even done a front flip. I was basing everything from my form to my execution of it on Power Rangers. So, it went about as good as you thought it would go. I jumped, face first, no tuck, roll, anything, into the sharp corner of the bathtub and busted my chin open. My twin sister was just standing there screaming, and so was I. Blood was everywhere, and when my mom came in she looked horrified. Got my chin glued back together pretty much, because I refused to get stitches or get it cauterized, because they both sounded super painful. Have a scar on the inner part of my thigh from riding a bicycle. IDK exactly how, but I fell, and the bike ripped my inner thigh to fuck. Blood was everywhere, had to get stitches. When they were doing that, I saw chunks of my flesh being pulled off from the needles. I remember being on the gurney in the hallway, cause the bitch's hospital didn't have rooms, and my dumbus had the habit of wearing shorts without boxers, so I felt extra uncomfortable and weird. I was lying there, and I was scared AF. I touched the outer part of the gash wound, and I felt flesh. It's now a 5-inch scar, and one side of the scar is a little bit concaved. Supposedly that's the side that got fucked up the most, so the scar itself looks like it dips a little on the side. Doctor said cause I was chubby, my thick thighs saved me from getting my leg chopped off. Better yet, it saved me from getting my dick chopped off too. Point is, thick thighs saves lives. The scar left behind from a huge bite a German shepherd took off of my left hip. He was beyond the fence, and I was playing with his owner, chasing each other around in the yard. We were both 9 at the time. The dog got so worked up by our laughter and constant running around that he broke through the fence, pushed me to the ground and bit me really hard. He was pretty much my size at the time, an amazingly strong animal. He was only protecting his owner, thinking we were fighting or something. I hid that scar from my family my entire life because I was at my friend's house to play without their permission. It took months for the wound to heal, and the use of a couple of powder antibiotics that my granddad farmer kept in the house to tend to his animals. That was when I started to wash my own clothes, to the sheer delight of my mum, who saw that as a great sign of maturity given my age at the time. My family does not know about that episode even today, and I'm a grown-ass 45-year-old guy. I have a scar from something dumb I did as an adult. I was working at a holiday resort, and we were doing games in the pool which involved a hula hoop. My job was to get people enjoying it and having a good time. So to build the atmosphere I decided to do a dolphin dive through the hoop that my colleague was holding. What I didn't realize was that the water was only waist deep. I hit my head and shoulder on the bottom of the pool very hard and now sport a beautiful scar on my left temple. I feel lucky to be alive. My cousin dived into a river when he was 18, but he didn't realize the water was barely knee deep. He broke his neck and has been in a wheelchair ever since. Always take a swim and check the depth first. Learning how to ride a bike when I was 6. I was in my house learning how to ride a bike when my mom told me there was nuggets for dinner. I crashed into something and hit my forehead on the wall. My mom came rushing towards me and I said oh it's fine. I touched my forehead and saw something red. I even have ketchup for the nuggets. My mother started crying of laughter. When she stopped, she brought me to the hospital and I just had some stitches. We then went to McDonald's, so we still had nuggets. Long story short, don't ride a bike in your apartment kids. I've got a scar on my lip. Everyone thinks I've had a cleft before and had surgery on it. Reality, I was 3 running full force through the house and fell with a book in my hand, sliced my lip right open on a paper cut. I still very much remember that moment. Everyone holding me down so they could clean the blood off my face lol. I didn't study for an exam and I knew I was gonna fail. I faked having a stomachache and now I have a scar on my belly from an appendix operation. Was there something actually wrong with your appendix, or were you that good at faking it? I was faking initially, then after going to the doctor started getting stomach itches from anxiety, which just kept on increasing. When I was 12, I was wheeling a grill up a hill. I wanted to bring it to my fort in the woods. Well, I lost my grip and one of the grill's leg came down, sliced my ankle. It was pretty deep too. I probably should have gotten stitches, but was too embarrassed of the whole thing. So I washed it out, put Neosporin and wrapped my ankle with gauze. Repeated this for a month. Now I have a good sized scar. Me and a few of my friends played a very intellectual game with a can of deodorant. You take a spray can, put it close to your skin, and spray it. The longest to last wins. Now all 4 of us have the same circular scar on our hands from the burn. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos.